Now, we'll look back at some of the other conferences. Do you remember the Aviemore 3? It was a trio of local folk, all with different interests and concerns. Well, they joined us here in Aviemore at the conference here when the Scottish Liberal Democrats held their annual bash in this very hall. And that was, for the three of them, that was their very first experience of party politics. It's a bit of a reminder for you.
My name is Hendy Pollock. I'm a retired local government officer.
But in retirement, Hendy's involved in umpteen local activities, including the Strathspey Steam Railway.
Hi, I'm Scott Muir. I'm 30 years old. I'm Scottish National Youth Team coach, professional full-time climber.
Scott runs a rock climbing wall in Aviemore. He can't be with us this weekend. He's over the border, pursuing his profession in the Lake District.
Hi, I'm Gina. I'm 16. This is our band Lift. I go to school at Kinesi High School, and when I leave, I hope to study drama.
Well, that may be changing. Gina Malone may be contemplating a different career, but here's her fellow students at Kinesi High School, all of them facing their hires, all of them considering their future, and all of them potential first-time voters.
2009, we're going to have a new election, and we'll all be able to vote. So, show of hands, how many do you think will actually vote for that? Well, that's everybody.
Well, the Aviemore 3, as I said there, have become the two. It's the current economy and current reduction. Scott's away, as we mentioned. He's over the border in a climbing job. But Hendy and Gina are here, and they join me now. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Welcome back. Now, have you been, I'm not sure, you've been here the 2 days of the conference
I was
so
here
far?
yesterday.
Yeah. But now, you're no longer the political virgin, as you were on the previous occasion, coming to Paris. What have you made of this one by comparison with the others you were at?
The only conference I've attended before, of course, was the Liberal one. And there's a marked distinction here in that there's quite a lot of euphoria around, and that these people here are the Scottish government.
Here as well. It's big numbers.
And it's a big conference. And it's good. I mean, clearly we've got the First Minister here, so there's a different slant on the whole thing, because these people make the decisions that affect Scotland now.
So they're not just talking, they're doing. It's always the difference between opposition and government. You think you can detect that even just walking around the hall?
Yeah. Lots of tasty treats on offer from a policy perspective, but whether they can be delivered or not is always the $1,000 question.
Gina, what have you been here, today and yesterday?
No, yesterday I was at school.
Oh,
yeah,
I beg your pardon, of course. So you didn't take the chance to plunk, even though you would have had a reasonable excuse with this one.
Well, that's true. Should have taken the opportunity, but no, wasn't here yesterday. But I mean, even just being here today, you can feel the energy is so much better than before, and people seem to be a lot younger, which was one of the first things I noticed.
A lot of young people involved.
Yeah, definitely, and the energy, like I said, just seems to be a lot higher.
Now, you were going to be studying drama, but you'll gather you're now going to be studying something involving politics. Is that right?
Politics and sociology. I hope to go off and do.
Is that as a consequence of joining the Aviemore 3?
Well, it certainly was helped by everything here. But yeah, that just seems to have interested me a lot since last time I was here. I've got a lot more involved in different things. And
do you think, I mean, we were discussing earlier the business of young people and voting at 16, etc. Do you think that if people could see what happens at conferences for real, or rather than regarding it as something remote and difficult, that they might get more involved?
Oh, definitely. I mean, at the age of 16, you're generally you're in school. Most of people are in school doing things. Teachers are teaching you things about politics. So you're engaged at that time. I mean, when I was doing modern studies at standard grade, there are people in my class who generally probably wouldn't be interested in voting or in politics, but because the teacher was, educating us on that, there was definitely energy about politics. So I think because they were engaged at that age, they could possibly lose it later on if they left school. So to catch people at that age, to come to something like this, I think would be beneficial.
Andy, you mentioned earlier the business of delivery. I mean, we've had the significant policy announcements here. You're just a bit sceptical about it all, right?
Yes, there's a bit of a paradox here, because we have the SNP in as the Scottish Government, but much of their policy aspiration has to be gotten through the Scottish Parliament by leave of the Liberal and Labour Party, because they're in a minority. And of course, as well, they get their money from a London government, a Labour government in London. So Alistair Darling holds the purse strings for whatever Alex Salmond wants to do. And if he needs a bit more, will he get it?
Do you think that they have? I mean, the survey suggests people think they've generally done pretty well. You know,
Yes.
done no bad. You know,
Yes.
in the usual sort of Scott Pocky fashion. How do you feel they've done in government since they came in?
I think it's fair to say that Alex Salmond has been quite impressive thus far, and he seems to have been a master tactician in bringing even people, perhaps of even moderately opposite view, slightly on board. But so there's still, the honeymoon is still sort of going yet. But when, you know, he wants to push through these flagship sort of policies in the Scottish Parliament, we'll see how it goes.
Do you know what would you like to hear from the new SNP Scottish Government?
Well,
what sort of things concern you?
Well, more about the the endowment fees, tuition fees. I mean, that seems to be a huge thing. And I'm going off to uni soon next year, so that's a huge thing for me.
Well, there's a bill being introduced to scrap the graduate endowment.
Yeah.
But that idea of taking over the debt of students domiciled in Scotland, that doesn't seem to be happening at the present moment anyway.
No, I think to get rid of student debts entirely, I mean, I would say that's almost impossible. You've still got your living fees, living expenses. I mean, if you want to go into halls of residence, that's going to cost you.
But when you're hoping to go to university, do you mind me asking you where are you hoping to go?
I'd love to go to Edinburgh.
You'd love to go to Edinburgh. Well, a splendid
Edinburgh
university. My son went there, so it's an excellent place. Elder son went there. But what you're looking at that now with what? With eagerness or with anxiety?
Definitely with eagerness. But I mean, for a lot of people, there is that anxiety of how you're going to pay, what's going to happen when you come out of uni, if you have to pay
it's
these
not the cheapest place in the world, Edinburgh,
no, it's
is
not.
it?
Oh,
It's
definitely.
expensive.
Yeah. So there are these worries. So it'd be interesting to see.
Andy, what would you like to see from hear from the new ministerial team?
I think the one thing that's probably important to all parts of Scotland is getting our streets back at night. I think I was speaking to Norrie Flowers yesterday from the Police Federation, and there is this issue of 1,000 more policemen and whether or not the SNP will be able to achieve that and pay for it. I mean, I think most people do want to see the police back on the streets. We also have, I think, an increasing number of sort of disenfranchised young people who've got little or nothing to do at night, and we need to be thinking of what more we can do to provide for these young people. But we have entertainment.
We held on that theme, and a comparable theme, we heard in the debate yesterday about a problem here in the Highlands of housing. You know, young people not being able to get a start on get their own property or things. Is this something? Is the issue Hendy was mentioning a problem as well?
Oh yeah, about the young people being out at
night. Yes.
Oh, definitely. I mean, in this place like Aviemore, there's definitely a lot of younger people who don't have anything to do, so like tend to resort to crime or something like that. I mean, stereotypical things like that. But yeah, I definitely think that would be something that the SNP should tackle, because I mean they have to.
Okay.
They have to.
Yes, we need just more initiatives, particularly to accommodate young people. We need youth cafes and so on. The best we can do for them in a place like Aviemore, and in many other Scottish towns will be the same, is the front of Tesco.
Okay. Thanks both very much indeed. The Aviemore Two, as we must know, the two was worth the weight and gold for three there. Thanks very much indeed. Now then.